right. Well, hello, and welcome to Sam's Talk. I'm Sam,
I'm Sam.
and we are the Sams.
I got a question. Are we on YouTube now?
Yes, babe, we are live.
That's
Welcome back, folks.
how
Uh,
long it's been.
that's how long it's been.
Miss y'all.
So,
Love y'all.
a podcast on life from the perspective of a man,
A woman,
a husband,
a wife,
a father,
a mother,
and
and believer.
believers. As always, this episode is brought to you by Sam's Community TV, creating content to establish a community through genuine relationship building. Before we start tonight's episode, I want to ask that you please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification button. The subscription button keeps you connected to our community, and the notification button will notify you anytime one of our episodes are airing, because we would love to have you join us. Now, as you're enjoying our episode tonight, we would love for you to go ahead and hit the like button to help us conquer good old algorithm.
Yes,
And
yes,
folks,
yes.
tonight we are dropping the link in our comments section if you want to join us for any of the topics that we're discussing. All we ask is that you're willing to cam up. So with
That's
that,
it.
Samantha, how are we doing tonight?
I mean, I'm just tickled. I'm good. You know, one, I missed this. It's been a minute, okay? And you can tell by our opening. So see people like, you know, not everything is perfect, but we here to talk. Um, we're in 2025, 2024, ended with illness. It started with cold. But all in all, I'm excited for 2025. How
You're
about you, babe?
excited
How
for
you doing?
2025, huh?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm glad we're finally back on wax, as they say.
Who
You know,
knows what they say now?
who
I
knows
just
what they
got a
say?
list of the new words that the Gen Alphas is using, and I'm like, what language is this? So yeah,
So what are the Gen Alphas saying nowadays?
skiddly doo boo 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 bop, whatever the chin thing. I have no idea. I don't. It don't even
Well,
matter.
well, let me ask you this: Gen Z or right? Gen Z,
I just said Gen Alpha, but yes, they're
Gen
Gen
Alpha,
Z,
Gen Alpha.
Gen
Either way,
Alpha.
everyone has their agenda in terms of what life is going to look like for them in the future. So why don't we start
Mhm.
with ourselves? 2025.
Yeah,
2025. What's your outlook, Miss Samantha Ray, for 2025?
my outlook for 2025, I feel like it's broad,
Okay.
where I'm going to say I am. I feel a little bit of excitement. Um, I feel like it's time to things that I have said. Oh, I'm gonna have a little interest in that, or oh, I need to do that, or start this. It's like now's the time. You see, and you say about like an algorithm and things like that, and it's like I find more and more like on my feed or even people around me, you hear what you're seeing, you know, and it's like saying you already know tomorrow's not promised, so you have to live like tomorrow's not promised and stop pushing things off. So I just want to kind of really be um intentional on really like getting things completed, done, trying new things, um, enjoying, you know, family, friends. 2025, I see it as vibrant and sunny. Because it's cold weather, I got to get up out of here. Okay.
Listen,
I'm freezing,
listen.
y'all. I can't take it.
We've been hit with the winter that we haven't had here for some time. I mean, it's funny because taking the kids to school and listening to them comment about the snow, to hear them say it usually doesn't snow in January. You know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself like, when else would it snow? But from your perspective, you don't see snow. For the last
Right.
5 years, there hasn't been snow, I guess, in January either. So now this winter is real. But I mean, I think we'll be better for it. It's good
I'm
for the
it,
bones.
it's crazy because I don't know if I'm better for it. I'm crankier because I was at work today and
This is
I'm
being
like,
recorded, right?
I'm at work today and I'm like, all right, is my skin thinner? I mean, I used to be on public transportation. I would be here and there and out there with just my little coat, I mean, standing in line at the club with your little nothing on, okay? And I got a wool coat, scarf, hat, and I can't take it. I can't. I'm over it. I'm over it.
I
How
am.
about you? How's your outlook?
Listen, I'm not even over it, and I know I probably should be, but I'm not. To be honest with you, even feeling like seeing the kids experiencing it for the first time, realizing at some point it'll be over. Like this too shall pass. We haven't had this kind of weather for last 5 years, so let's see what happens. I think we can endure it. I'm up for it. Um,
That's fine. You be
that's
chopping that
fine.
wood. That's fine. I can watch it from the window playing
hmm
outside.
But talking about 2025 outlook, similar to what you were saying, and I think a lot of it for me also includes me diving into this book that I'm reading right now, The Courage to Be Disliked. And it's really illuminating different philosophies about how we think about life and its approach. And if your goal is to achieve things that your heart desires, then there's a myriad of ways you can go after it. But I really like how this book is centering in on courage, really being the key component to whether you want to call it manifestation, um, your just overall achievement. I mean, you call it the pursuit of the things that you really want to do. It requires courage, and so it's it's pretty cool to see how this book breaks it down and puts it against different mental barriers that we use, or mental, I don't even know what to call them at this point, but just things
Blockages.
that we have in our tool bag that sometimes we use for our benefit, but sometimes, we use to excuse certain things that we don't do. But here's, I think, one of the coolest things that I've learned about the book is the idea that our emotions are a tool. I never thought of our emotions as being a tool, right? Like I always thought our emotions were something that happen regardless of how we are thinking or feeling. And so the feeling itself of something is sort of reactionary, right? Like I'm not saying that we don't have a reaction, but what I've also learned is our response to that reaction is actually measured. And
Hmm.
that's the point that like kind of made me stand still for a bit, because I've been angered before and felt that I was reacting in a way where I quote unquote lost control. But even in losing control, that's a choice, right?
Right.
But to even take it a step further, and the way that the book broke it down for me to understand it, said, imagine it was a mother and daughter quarreling with each other, right? And at the time, the mother was raising her voice to establish the dominance in that dynamic, right? While
Right.
that's happening, the phone rings. Mother picks up the phone. It's the daughter's teacher. So the mother instantly puts on her telephone voice. So she puts on her telephone voice for the duration of the call, hangs up the phone, puts her attention back on her daughter, and immediately raises her volume to again establish that dominance. And what the author was describing was the fact that she uses anger to yell. Like it wasn't an emotion that she couldn't control, because she was able to control it for the phone call. So the fact that she could just put it away at a drop of a dime, and then just pick it back up, I was like, yo, we actually
Right.
do control and manage and use our emotions as a tool for what it is we want to have happen.
right. But also, could it be it's like we have control of it, but we're just putting it on pause because this other thing happened. So,
Is that not control if we put it on pause?
yes, it's control, but you didn't finish the hollering.
So you didn't finish using the anger to do what it is you wanted it to do.
Correct.
Right, which suggests that you don't need to do it then. Like it's not something that has to happen. If you can pause it, then you can put it away altogether.
Okay, so I have a question though, and I'm
Okay.
going to use an example, and you maybe and maybe you're not in this part of the book yet, and maybe it's just a rhetorical whatever, or maybe we come back to it later. But okay, for that, you have a mother, right, to her children, and she says, in this tone, please pick that up. Second time, can you pick up your shoes? Third time, it gets louder, and then they hear you. It's just like, and it happens so like you people don't start off on 100. I feel like majority, but it's like you say it one, two, three times, and no movement happens. So what is that?
Well, I think so. I think the way you're posing the question seems to suggest to me that you shouldn't. It's something you shouldn't do, and that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that even in your example, you're describing a scenario where you are consciously use like anger is you're using anger to raise your voice because they didn't listen the first time. So it's like
Right,
you said it politely, you said it nicely, there's no response. And so every time you go up and you are feeling, you're using the feeling to go up, right? Like think about it. Think about when someone's at their wits end and they're not yelling anymore. They're just like, "Please, please, will you just," right? That's a different emotion altogether. Now they're pleading. They're no longer angry because it didn't get the effect that they desired, so they take anger away altogether, and now they're using a different emotion to try to plead with the child. Even with the child, acting up in the market or whatever, you're thinking to yourself like, "Man, they need to get that child together." You see them pleading with a child because like they go through different emotions in the process. But if you think of it more as like a tool, like they're using the emotion in order to get out what they want to get out in that moment to get the response from the other person, as
right,
opposed to this person is making me behave this way. Like it's not in my control. They made me angry. They made me sad. It's like they can make you sad. I'm sorry, that's not right. Because emotions are a response, but what it's like the next decision is really like the whole component. Like the emotion, the feeling of it in itself is something that we are going to react to that we can't control. We can't
right.
control the feeling that we will feel. We can't control how we feel about things. What we do about those feelings are 1000% in our control.
Yes, and Sammy Bobby said anger from frustration.
Anger from frustration?
That's what she put in the chat.
Absolutely. Anger from frustration. I mean, I think we get angry from a ton of things. We get sad for a ton of reasons. Um, we get happy around a ton of reasons. And all of those things we emote differently when we feel those feelings. But the idea that because we feel the feelings, we are forced to behave a certain way, that's really what the book kind of objects to. And it made me actually look at it in a different light. Like, wow, I might get angry, but I don't, because I know myself, I don't respond the same way every time I get angry, right? Like,
Right,
there's times I get angry and I can dismiss it, and there's times I get angry and I react to it. Well, what's the
right.
difference? Is what
There's
I
times
felt
you get
like doing.
angry and you're quiet. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
it all depends on the situation, where you at, kind
So
of
yeah,
thing.
so that's really where I'm at in 2025 is, the realization that, I can control and it's courage that will allow me to accomplish all things and address and attack anything. Like anything in life is a component of courage. And again, the way the book communicates, it talks about all the things that we use to pacify us in our non-pursuit. You know what I mean? Of the things we really want, like all the little excuses we have, it has a counter for all of those things. And so it's just like, so
Well,
folks,
I
a
can't
book
wait
review is
to
coming soon.
yeah, I can't wait to hear the end. Like when you make a synopsis of the book. Sammy
So
Bobby asked,
I see. I love
"Is
the
there a
question.
difference? Is there a difference between being angry and being passionate?" I think so.
All right, why don't you give it a first stab?
Okay. Well, I I I believe that someone can be passionate and it not even look like anger. Someone can be passionate about something and it's just like, they're driven, there's a drive, they're excited, you know, um, but anger, I feel like I just see anger one way. Even if you're quiet with it and not hollering, it's just like a negative emotion. I feel like passionate is positive.
Yo, you are spot on, my dear. So here's what Google came up with. While both anger and passion are strong emotions, the key difference lies in their motivation and outcome. Anger is typically destructive and focused on negativity, while passion is a positive force that drives creativity, enthusiasm, and constructive action towards a goal, often involving deep personal investment and commitment. Essentially, anger is reactive and often harmful, whereas passion is proactive and can be highly beneficial.
Look at that. Woohoo, Cheerio.
Very
I'll
good.
take a sip on that.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I'll just say I agree. You know what I mean? How can I
Thank you,
disagree with that?
Sammy Bobby, for the question.
That's a great question. That is a great question. So, one of the things that we wanted to do today, I think our very first time, is do a reaction video. Right? Have we
No,
done?
well,
No, no, no. We
yeah,
did do a
I
reaction
mean,
before. Yes, we did. We did.
yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
we have.
Yes, we
But
did.
again, we getting back on this horse. We getting back on it. It's 2025. You're gonna see more of us, more of me, more of Sam. So yeah, our 2025 first reaction video. Hit me with it.
Here we go. So we are going to. Oh, you know what? I'm out of order. But you know what? Let's do the reaction now since I queued it up. Okay? All
Okay.
right. So we are reacting to a video from Shelly Career and Stuff. Is her IG, Shelly Career and Stuff. And so let me add it to the stage. Here we go. All right, folks. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to play some, stop, talk about it, play some, stop, talk about it. And feel free to join us in the comments. And away, you got your eyes on the comments, right, Samantha Ray?
Yes, sir.
Then let's do it.
Welcome to day one of Trump's second term. I have some thoughts. My first thought: we are not victims. Do not get caught up and take on a victim mentality. We're not doing that. We are not doing that. If that means that you need to delete some news outlet apps from your phone to avoid this fear based crowd speak that is going to be happening for the next 4 years, just like it did the first term, delete the apps. We are not victims. Okay? Number two.
Okay, so maybe an effective way to go about this is maybe one point at a time.
That's fine.
That works for you. All right.
Whichever
So
you
here's
want
the first
to
thing I
do.
want to say.
Okay.
When she mentioned removing the apps because of sort of like the messaging,
Right.
I that really hit me when I heard this because I remember either during the campaign and or post election watching the news and essentially encouraging folks to not get together with family members over the holidays based off of how they voted. And
Right.
I remember sitting there thinking, I've never heard something like this before. I've never ever heard the news telling families to consider staying apart for the holidays based off of how they voted for an election. So, oh yeah, I was very surprised to say the least.
It was
Hear that.
interesting to hear that during right before Thanksgiving. On a lot of different um, radio was talking about it, TV was talking about it. Um, where again, I've never heard that, and I mean, we've been through a few presidents so far, so it's interesting, and it's just like you know, it's politics, something you never really talk about, but it is everyone doesn't like the same person, but with that it was just like, okay, your choice, your vote, whatever, but never not, oh, you're disowned, okay, you're not welcome at the Thanksgiving table. um so I mean, it's interesting, but people have really strong feelings.
Yeah,
People are angry and people are
yeah,
passionate, you know
yeah,
um
yeah,
on this. But to Shelly's point, I agree with her. It's, we don't, or we shouldn't, again, have, and I, this victim mentality or be stuck. But see, I was all like, when I was have been talking to different people, and it's like, I wasn't saying victim, but I guess you could say it the same. It's like the fear. It's just like, I mean, I know people that seem like they're stuck in this fog of fear that seems unhealthy. Like, um, and it's a shame because, yes, a lot of things are happening that should not be happening, or it just seems like the world is upside down. Yes, we know this. But with that, your life still has to go on. Like, and I just feel like there are certain people that just sounds like they're letting this, what has happened, this election, hinder them from just everyday joy, you know?
yeah. That's I like kind of how you ended that, because that might be where I find my biggest issue is that people are unable to see the positives out of their daily experiences, it seems, because they're being encouraged to sort of contemplate how dark and grim things can be. And
Right.
that it just seems different. I've always recognized that, growing up, there have been, you have your parties, they have their positions. It is what it is, sort of like you're trying to engage the group that resonates with you the most. Um, but this time around, in terms of the way it's sort of communicating how people should feel, I think is really the part that just seems different, right?
Right.
Like, like at the end of the day, we all have to do what we have to do. That's the
Right.
reality. And I think if there were conversations more about, okay, here's how to navigate these circumstances, right? Like that, to me, that's actionable. But if you center around a feeling that you will or should have, is where I find that to not be as, like, overall hopeful, right? It's like you are removing an element of hope that I think should always be part of, a message to a community. And maybe that's just how I'm wired, right? Like, and maybe
Right.
because I'm of the book I'm reading, it just kind of reads the same way that it's tough to navigate a space where it's that void of hope.
Right. And I'm only, my 2 cents, my opinion, me personally, it's just you don't have to like the man. Kind of thing. You don't have to agree what he is saying, but to let things happen in a macro level, right? They happen at a macro level. Yes, they at some point I'm sure will affect me. But it may affect me 3 years and a quarter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like me sitting right here sulking, and that's my only the constant, like I'm not doing that to myself, and people shouldn't. It's just like, okay, and if this is happening in a macro kind of thing, maybe think like if you're so wound up about it, I don't know, like do something, join something, a group that is trying to fight the power. I don't know. I just know that to the fear is, I feel like fear is dangerous, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I personally did notice just sort of like an inundation of messaging surrounding sort of like the bleakest and grimmest of circumstances that everyone should, like, the weight of it we should all be carrying in a way that I just didn't find very helpful.
Right.
And then once they said, once I saw like actively communicating, you should consider not spending time with family members. It's like, all right, like this
How
obviously is
that's
not for
confident.
me. So,
Right.
anywho,
Right.
this ain't for me. Let's see what
Right.
we got. That was number one. All right,
All right.
moving
Number
forward, we'll
two.
spend maybe a little bit less time so we can get through
Okay.
all the points here.
You trying to say I'm long winded?
It's time to get that bag. It is time to take on a money mindset. If you didn't have it before, now is the time, because guess what? Our president loves money. Okay? There's a reason why he's sitting with billionaires, right? Money makes the world go round. And while he is here, we may as well be like him. Okay? Focus on getting your bag. Focus on getting a bigger bag. Focus on your dollars. Okay? Okay. Number 3.
All right. So I guess I'll just say I can't disagree with the idea that you should always be really trying to sharpen your skills at all times. And I don't
Right.
think that there's any reason um to feel, that you can't be as entrepreneurial minded as ever in this kind of situation. I think who knows what is to come, but it almost seems like the wild wild west of
Right.
like ushering in a new industry, right? So you have the crypto, the AI, technology, etc., and it's almost going to be like a brand new day. So I absolutely understand the idea that we all need to evolve in terms of understanding what is next and how to capitalize on the opportunities. What is really unique about this day and age? I mean, think about it. You and I are on YouTube. We have the ability to interact with people all over the world in this moment, like, so through this medium. And I think that's also part of the reality of Web3, meaning your own site essentially serves as a YouTube or an Instagram and all things together. X, so everyone will sort of have a page that allows them to connect directly with the world. These are the things that I think we all should be thinking about. Understanding cryptocurrency, like these, familiarizing yourself, education. We all need to relearn or learn sort of what the new world, I think, is going to offer us in terms of assets, in terms of what quote unquote infrastructure looks like, from payment vehicles. I mean, listen, there are people who are already scanning their bodies for payment.
Right.
Like
In
that
Japan.
that already exists,
Right.
so
So, and it's interesting because it's like I feel like 2025 is like also learn, like, you know what I'm saying, figure things out, where it's just like, you know what, I really didn't understand crypto. Well, how about somebody, give me a crash course, start the process, crypto for dummies. I don't know, like, but it's just like you can't sit, and it's crazy because I have, I'm gonna put it out there. My mama, where it's like she's like, oh, I don't know that computer stuff, like payment online, and it's like she for years was like, I'm not doing that. That's not me. I'll do another way, blah, blah, blah. And she has now come to a point where there are certain bills where it's like, that's all you can do. So it's either you're going to learn it, figure it out, or, you know, not elevate kind of thing. And I just feel like now, especially like AI and all this, it's just like, we got to learn it. Especially people like our age, they got kids. And it's like, they are growing up, and this is what they know, this is what they're going to learn, this is what they're in, this is their world. And if we want to figure out when they get teenagers what's their world, we got to start now.
no, you're right. And I think, to Shelly's point, I think a lot is going to happen quickly.
Oh
I
yeah.
think
Oh,
with
and I'm
with
all
all the
about the bag.
relationships with these tech billionaires, they're going to try to make real momentum and real progress in these 4 years. So it behooves us all to learn, understand how to manipulate AI, how to use it as a tool for our own interests of anything that we want to explore. We got it. We have to evolve in this moment, you
Right.
know.
Agreed.
So, all right.
Figure out an area of need that you want to focus on and put your money where your mouth is. Charitable efforts, charitable orgs are going to suffer the most, okay? I'm not here to influence you on what area you should be focusing on. Figure out what's important to you, but what matters most is that you are putting money where your mouth is. We're not just talking, okay? Figure out a cause and put your money there because those organizations are going to need it. Number 4.
So that's basically, and I didn't realize like that her number 3 was going to be that. But when I said earlier about folks that feel like they should join a cause, like, just don't sit and wallow. Okay, figure out what is concerning you that he is doing and find the people that are trying to combat that. So,
Yeah. No, I think it's about action. I think is really the message I received there. That, but also, I think she was making the point to say that charitable foundations. The way I also heard that video is that there might be a decline, sort of like in the
funding,
the
yes.
overall funding and health of some of these organizations.
Right.
So
So if you sit
it's
on your couch
yeah,
whining about it, then you go volunteer with them, support them, get them some money, type
hmm
stuff. But yeah.
get involved.
What we are not about to do for the next 4 years is take on this, well, I guess I'll make lemonade out of lemons. No, French 75 me. I'm fancy. We are fancy. Okay, we are going to make the best out of this next 4 years. We're going to milk it for what it is. Okay, And we are going to be living our best lives. French 75s. Don't nobody want no lemonade. French 75 me. Yes? Okay. Buckle up, y'all.
Buckle up, y'all. French
So
75.
for y'all that don't know, a French 75 is a cocktail. Gin, lime juice, lemonade, lemon juice. But we're not no lemonade. She's saying you're better than lemonade. She's saying you're a French 75, so you want better, you need to do better, you need to be better. That's what I took from that.
So an ounce of gin, 2 dashes of simple syrup, half ounce of lime juice, and 2 ounces of champagne. And there
Sound
is
fancy
your
to me.
French 75. Hey, I can't hate. I'm have no objection with that sentiment at all. You know, I have no objection to the thought, the mindset. This is our listen. You know, it's really sometimes I still pinch myself is the fact that I'm middle aged. You know, so
Not
even as
yet.
even as I listen to this, I think to myself, it honestly is our time. You know, we literally are the adults in the room. You know, and so this is the time for us to lead. And I think we're moving into a whole new era of life where people don't know what this looks like. You know, and so why not take the opportunity to get a jump start so that you can be the leader and the teacher
Right.
or for
And it's
everyone else who's going to have to come on board with what is just bound to happen.
and it's interesting you just said that because you know what I just thought of? Like how when we were growing up, the um, multimillionaire, billionaires, and designers and people that, were brand names or names you knew were like movers and shakers. They all like got known 40s, 50s kind of thing. I mean, they're ancient now because, like you said, we're middle aged, but it was just like that thought came to my mind where it's just like the designers that are still today came about, when they
I
were.
mean, it's it's all things. I mean, think of who you think of Jay-Z today.
Okay.
Think of how you see Jay-Z today. They don't know him as Jay-Z, the artist that was coming up as we knew him.
Right.
Like he is a mogul of moguls to them today. You know, and so the reality is everyone moves like it's a progression. It's where your hours spent. You know, if you have wandering hours in life, you know, you'll have wandering results. You know, but if you have a focused, dedicated hours in life, you know, there will be evidence of that,
Right.
you know? So I think that's what it comes down to. So speaking of hours, and so let me just again thank, wrote see Shelly Career and Stuff. You all can follow her on her IG as she continues to drop gems. We appreciate the opportunity just to even, find content to respond and react to. But speaking of the hours spent in life and sort of sticking to it, let's talk about it.
Yes.
I'll have what I'm having dinner series.
Yes, yes. And if you don't know about it, you need to find out. Okay. It's a really good time, a fellowship, conversation, laughter, sharing, transparency. Like you name it, we got it. Like you experience a lot at our dinner series. And again, like it says, I'll have what I'm having. You think of it however you want. And then when you come to the dinner, we explain it a bit more. But if we open our home, we have a dinner, a meal together. We discuss adult conversation. Again, Sam and I are not ones to where it's like everybody has to have the same thought, everyone has to agree upon the same thing. One rule: you got to be respectful. If you don't agree with somebody sitting next to you, that's fine. But you never know. They may drop a gem. They may show you a different perspective that you didn't think about. Or may not. But I'm telling you, when you leave the dinner, you will not feel as though your time has been wasted.
Yeah. Excuse me. I have to agree. I don't know if there have been guests who felt that it's been a waste of time in any way, shape, or form. I think the opportunity just to meet new people, to hear new life stories, to share just about experiences. You're hearing testimonies from folks, quite frankly, and I think there's power in that in terms of encouragement, um, to feel restored, to feel connected. The realization that there's certain things that you may not be experiencing alone, or there's sort of a um, something that is similar enough where you recognize that there's synergy at the table. And I think when we observe that, that's something that always brings me real joy, is to realize that we're doing something that is meaningful. That I feel is a call. It's something for us to do, is create these experiences for genuine relationship building. And the dinner series is one that we believe has had a lot of um, positive effects on all thus far. And
Right.
you know I'll say this much, as we keep exploring this series and work out more details, we'll get to a point where we're going to help you all pull them off yourself, because it's a way
Right.
to really engage with the community that's around you. And so as much as we are learning, we get a chance to meet our community, reintroduce ourselves to those we know, in a way that's so unique, that I would encourage everyone to try to, you know, host their own. But more information to come. We are going to have some dates up soon for dinners for folks to attend, and so we'll provide that information, those details for our upcoming dinners. But
So that
again,
means you better like and subscribe
that's
so
right. You
you
got
get
you
the
should like and
information.
subscribe. That way, you
Because
get notified,
right,
when things are coming up.
because so far we got 12 under our belt, and it's just there's no limit.
No limit soldiers over here. All right. So, last but not least, this year at the inauguration, one of the things that was noticeable was when they did the introductions of the former presidents. Um, Former President Barack Obama was solo dolo, and so I had a conversation with Samantha about it, and also with friends, just to get different perspectives, because I can admit, seeing it kind of like made me wonder why was he by himself. So
And my first thing was I was like, oh, was she ill? That is not the case.
right. Well, yeah. So she had planned to attend an event, honoring Martin Luther King Jr. As this year the inauguration was also on MLK Day, and so she elected to not attend, to attend a different event. Um, and I know that there were also, like, when I listened to different, again, talk about the news outlets, talk about a lot of the things that, or reasons why she may not have attended. And I think they were all valid in terms of a rationale. There was also a part of me that just felt, um, you could make go down the audience and come up with like similar sets of situations or reasons as to why they may have elected to not come or attend. And optically, the fact that it was only President Obama that was by himself is still something that I was left with.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm
And,
done.
and listen,
I'm done.
folks, I'm going to get clear up
I'm done.
so you can see me saying, and a lot of y'all going to be upset. You can be upset. It's okay. I'll take it. All right. I am P to the umpteenth power that she wasn't there. I didn't watch the inauguration, so I had to watch the video later. And at one point, it was like, I get it. You've been through a lot. You may not be able to stand Trump, his people, whatever, all that. You did your time, whatever. I've heard all the sides. As a wife, and I'm one of them. As a Black woman, I'm one of them. Ain't no way you let your husband, a former president, the only Black, go by himself. You be there. You're by his side. You hear the booze, you hear the smack, whatever. You cocoa butter down, you dress fly, and you walk in with your husband. You left that man. To me, it looked, and again, I only saw a short clip, but he looked like the only Black person in the room. Okay? I don't care what MLK. Let me not go there. Martin Luther King Jr. deserves all the honor and respect, but if he got a holiday again next year, you be there for your husband. You represent Black women. You show up and show out. So again, she needed to be there. That's it. You take whatever hours it is, you be there. All right. You got it, Sam.
I got it. Listen, folks, coming to you live. Again, I just thought it just struck me. It visually struck me. And I think when you shared your perspective, it's like I absolutely could envision a situation where if you're there with me, it doesn't even matter who else is in the room, And so even like to deprive that kind of opportunity to literally only care about the one next to you in the midst of like that to me is fun
like the awkward person next to him shake and whatever. Like, come on. Everybody else had their wife there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm all
for Michelle. I rock, like, come on. Got the book. I rock with you. But this time you failed. You failed.
I just think it could have been, again, like I said, to see them together in the midst of that, especially there, as contentious as it was, I think would have been something like, it's almost like they could have glowed. You know what I'm saying? Glowed together in the midst of, and for her without her there, it's just
look at the cocoa butter and soul glow. Okay.
So, but and I obviously you and I are who we are, but even your response to this, because again, I'm all about learning. Like I'm in a phase of life where I'm evolving, and I'm trying to be as open to new information as possible. I'm not trying to be rigid in my thinking because I know that I've grown, and I think much differently about things that I did 10, 15 years ago. And I don't want to feel that I've arrived at any point in time. But to hear your passion around this issue felt good only because you see it the way I saw it, right? And I'm not saying, because here's the beautiful thing about life. Life is subjective. I'm convinced of this. Like it's not objective. So even in terms of this conversation as to whether or not she should or shouldn't have gone, obviously there's a varying of opinions. There are many people's opinions that she shouldn't have been there. Like it's not a space that seemingly was very inviting of her, and for whatever the reason that she did not want to attend, good for her. And I think those are all valid. And I think again, when it comes to us being together, the fact that we are aligned on this it's encouraging to me, but it's also like part of why I get so excited about living a life with you. You know what I mean? Because I know where you stand on certain core things that I think about. And it just comes up from time to time. And it just is like, oh, right. But of course, like I didn't know how you would feel. And then to hear how you would feel, it's like, whoa. But then it's like, but of course, because that's how we would want to ride through this world together.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, again, that's why I was hoping she was ill, but she wasn't. And I mean, things happen. But this did not look good.
Yeah. But I mean, listen,
Yeah.
it's now it's 4 years of Trump, like that, the other presidents are going to be able to kind of go into the sunset, and the
Go on
focus is going
vacation.
to be, what's going on with this particular administration.
Right.
So listen, I am I'm forward thinking in my mindset. And that's another component of the book that I'm reading, The Courage to Be Disliked, is that, yesterday only matters if we want it to. Now think about what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we don't deal with the repercussions or the call or effects of yesterday. I'm not saying that a decision today does not affect something tomorrow. Oh, we gotta. What does that say?
It says Melania couldn't even control her face. I'm sure Michelle's face would have been
You
diabolical.
see what I'm
That's
saying?
fine.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Just like
Listen,
Hillary was.
Sammy, she stole a night for Black Twitter. Black Twitter would have went ham if they were there together, right? Because they would we Black Twitter been trying to figure out what she was really, implying with her facial structure. You know what I'm saying? Like her mannerisms, the whole nine. Like we could have had it could have been an event within an event.
Just like they were talking about how Hillary was snickering back there again. And I don't have a poker face, but I'm saying,
And they're funny, like them together.
and Michelle and Bush or Ace Boom Coon, they
Right.
would have been over there giggling. Listen, I don't care. I don't care if they talk about her if she there. They'll talk about her if she wasn't there. The issue is if she was there, they just talk about her facial expressions, blah blah blah, how whatever she was wearing. But who is she next to? Her husband. Again, I am going to close out this message of women and men, husbands and wives. Even if something may be discomfort within you or you may not want to do, if it's not going to kill you and your spouse needs that support, you support. You only have to be discomforted, whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Okay? For a short amount of time. But the ramifications of a spouse feeling slighted or not supported is worse. Okay, so Sammy Bobby says there's no doubt in my mind that Michelle loves and supports her Obama. I don't know. I'm not in her household. Visually, she wasn't
Well,
there.
yeah, but I don't think there's any doubt in my mind about that either. That's not even what. So that's an interesting comment, because you're responding how you're responding. I didn't question it in that moment. It's just more about like the idea that they are facing whatever they're facing together. Like they went through it. They went through the 8 years together there. And you had all the other presidents, husband and wife were present. And so, it just that's but again, I think the fact that they would have had their moments in that inauguration, I think is also a component that I miss out on seeing, like how they would have, you know what I mean? Like what their banter would have been like, like as they are there together. I think is something that we as citizens we've always drawn from for the most part in terms of the Obama, in terms of the example that they've set. So yeah, no, I don't question. I'm not questioning the love. Um, I just thought, wow, it would have been cool to see them together in the midst of something like this. But again, everything is subjective, and that's the beautiful part about life. That's the thing that I'm really honing in on, and I'm walking in that, is the idea that everything is subjective. We have our own opportunities every day to explore what we want to explore. And what I was saying in terms of yesterday is that, you can make a decision that you have to pay the consequence for, but even in terms of your approach of that consequence, it's forward thinking. Like looking back and having a feeling about it from behind of what happened is a choice. Like yesterday, the way we feel about yesterday, it's up to us. But today is the opportunity. And to have the courage that you are willing to just start from today, whatever it is. You don't have to beat yourself up over the fact that you haven't done something you told yourself you were going to do some time ago. You can literally just say from today, have the courage to say from today, what are the first steps? And then just start the process. And I just think in life, we allow yesterday to hinder us from taking the steps today. And if we could the same way understand that our emotions are a tool that we can also use, and we're not just beholden to. It's not just something that drives us, but we're always in the driver's seat. Yes, we might be caught off guard with what we feel, but our reaction to the feeling is something that we absolutely can manage at all times. And that's what I want to start working on a lot in 2025, because I know I can run hot in terms of certain conversations that are passionate, whatever. When it comes to sports, like I know I've run hot, but to know that I use it as a tool to run hot means that I can choose to not run hot. And so that's what I want to work out.
See, you gotta be cool like a cucumber, like me, because I don't run hot at all.
Well, folks, before something happens to our connection, no,
Well, wait, we gotta say go birds,
oh yeah,
right?
let's talk about it. So
Okay.
obviously, as you can see, we're both repping as we close our show tonight, folks. Our Philadelphia Eagles are in the championship round, hosting this Sunday. Whoa, whoa, whoa!
That's
That
the
looks like a
Eagles.
W. That looks like a W. That looks like a
It's the
W.
Eagles.
I hear you. It's the Washington
No,
Commanders. We don't want them to try to screen grab, our content and make a meme
it's
out of
an
us.
Eagle.
And make a meme out of us, you know. But yeah, Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday are one win away from another trip to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl. And so we
Come on,
ride out, we rocking, and
come
that's why we wore, our Eagles paraphernalia, just to kind of,
yes.
you
Let's
know,
go,
give them the
Saquon
mojo.
and Jalen. All
Let's go
right.
team.
Let's go,
So
team.
folks, as always, oh wait, go Birds. Thank you, Sammy. Go Birds. Thank you, chat. Go Birds.
That was, she said that
That's
was Wu-Tang.
Well, see that now. See, I can get down with that. You know what I mean? Because they ain't nothing to mess with. You see what I'm saying? Yo, quick question, Sammy. If you're still there, did you get a chance, or the chat or the group? If you all ever watched the Woo that came on Hulu, that was like easily one of our most.
Excellent show.
I mean, a
They
great
did a great
series to
job.
watch. So, folks, if you haven't seen it, I'm glad you put up the symbol. Check out the Wu-Tang series on Hulu. I thought, I mean, maybe
It was
one or two episodes outside of that, that thing was slamming, man.
right. I learned about Wu-Tang from that show. Again, I didn't listen to rap back in the day.
There we go. So Sammy says she loves it, so she knows she's familiar. Yeah, that thing was
Yes.
that was a classic right there. It was good TV. So, well,
So
folks, again, thank you for joining us tonight. Again, um, if you enjoyed the content, please make sure you hit the like button on this episode. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button. That way you'll be notified anytime we air.
yes, yes.
And so, folks,
Stay blessed.
until next time,
Stay blessed.
peace.